is that there are management who don't have a stake in the business. The management are quite often working, it's basically a gamble. They'll get paid for their salary for the couple of years, and if one of the IPs that they've got hits, that company will make millions. If it doesn't, they'll move on to another company and do exactly the same thing again, and it's all a gamble, which is something that anybody working in comics now has to consider. That some companies you go to, you know you're going to get paid. You might not get paid very much, but there are certain companies out there like Oni and Mad Cave, I think, who actually make a small profit and pay very low rates.
Yeah.
There are other companies that will offer you better rates, but it's a gamble whether or not you actually get them. And that's why Mark and I have been talking about, and in the case of at least some of his properties, going alternate routes to publish.
I mean, yeah, listen, and I do well. The majority of people who are involved as creators in comics, who are actual comics aficionados or have an interest in it, are probably doing it for free already. They're probably self-financing it, and they're probably interested in doing it to get their art out there. That's the majority of genuine people I meet who, or they'll come and say, "Oh, how did you get in?" or blah blah blah, whatever. Well, the same way they did, it's a lot of networking. But as you move further up the chain, you see how cynical it can become and how pissed off a lot of like legacy creators are, and they're just pissed off and bitter. And that's why whenever I obviously came on board with Panic, I feel like I am an advocate for the creator, and that's my line. I'm a union man, really, when you get right down to it. Working class background, I've always been in unions, and I feel like in comics there is absolutely no protection. And so I am very much trying to put it out there in Panic, and obviously in my actions and in the actions of the company, that we're trying to be an equitable company where you get paid. If you create something, you have a stake in it. There's obviously a bit of give and take, as to if you want to get paid more, the company has to get more of a stake because they have to make money on it too. So it's a balancing act. But yeah, I mean, I think the business has to go that way, because Marvel's big selling point in the past was coming right for us because you'll get to write your favorite superhero. You get to write Spider-Man or the X-Men or whatever. But they haven't changed the rates. Unless you're a superstar writer or artist or something, you're probably on very low rates. And they haven't changed the rates in years because the costs have went up, the audience has shrunk. The costs have went up because the audience has shrunk. You're having to charge more to make the same money back from less people. And so, it's a case now where you can either go and work for Marvel and you will get, the degree of exposure that you would get there, but you'll have very limited creative freedoms, and money won't be great, and it'll be a very corporate environment. And if you would ask me, would I want to work at Marvel? If you had said, would I want to work at Marvel in the 80s or 90s or something like that, I would have bet your arm off. I would have said, yeah, 100%. But now, as somebody who actually wants to create stories that interest me and have artistic integrity and things like that, not really, not really. There's nothing in there that, I don't want to be beholden to interfering corpos, and it's something that I'm constantly pushing back at in my own company, and that is whenever, what I feel are not creative department heads start sticking their heads into the creative stuff. And my attitude is always, fuck off back into your own area, because look after the finances or whatever else it is you do, but don't be in a creative room with creative people who are artists or writers or whatever, trying to jut in with your suggestions. And you hear it in movies all the time, where movie directors are constantly pushing against creative interference from the investors and the studios and blah blah blah. But it's very like that in comics now too. It's probably hard for people to hear, but the reality is that, much like in the indie movies of sort of the 70s and 80s, where you had guys like Sam Raimi or whoever running around financing their own stuff, directing it, getting money to do it themselves and sort of doing what they wanted. You sort of have to do that in comics now too, if you want to make what you want, you know, without any sort of interference. You are going to be beholden to the people that you got the money off, but you know, it's going to be forever what you know. Do you want to go the direction of no creative control and, you know, a kind of shitty paycheck, or do you want to create something that you're interested in creating and just risk it and be fulfilled creatively, you know?
Thanks very much, Mark. Any questions?
Yeah,